In honor of the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, today we'll be taking a look at set 6210. This is the original Jabba sail barge from 2006. Special shout out to my friend Jimmy for gifting me this set. Now before we get into the review, I just want to say we are missing about 3 minifigures, but other than that, everything came in the set. So without further ado, let's take a look at those minifigures. Here's Luke Skywalker, of course, in the black Jedi robes. Very simplistic prints. Of course, this was 2006, so printing techniques weren't quite as advanced as they were today. So he is relatively simple, only some bro printing on the torso, as well as a very simple face. This was, of course, also before the age of pupils. And interestingly enough, he came with 2 flesh hands instead of with one of the black hands, which is cool because at this point in the movie, he actually did not have the glove yet. He also comes with the green lightsaber, of course, and that's about it for Luke. Here's R2-D2, of course, with much brighter printing and more simplistic printing than what he has now. I understand that techniques were a bit more limited at the time, but it's always confused me as to why they only printed like this part of his head and then left the rest of the head completely white. But he still looks good. I actually really like the bright blue on him. It has a very nostalgic feel to it, especially as someone who played a lot of LEGO Star Wars growing up. And here's quite possibly the weirdest LEGO minifigure I will ever own. This is, of course, Princess Leia in the slave outfit, which, of course, is a gold bikini with 2 red curtains covering her legs. Pretty interesting printing, but it does capture the movie very well. Of course, it has the early female ponytail piece and a very simple female face print. And of course, here is Jabba the Hutt, who was a very complicated mold, especially for the time. A lot of detail went into this figure. It is a little creepy how it has no mouth or eye printing, but it looks good nonetheless. Of course, you can fully pose the tail as well as his arms, which it's interesting that they gave him like specialized hands instead of just giving him traditional minifigure hands, but I think it's still a very good figure. That will be it, because unfortunately this did not come with Han Solo, the Gamorrean Guard, or Lando Calrissian, but I'm still happy to have the ones that came in this. So now let's take a look at the build. So the set itself is composed of 3 primary builds. We have the Sarlacc Pit, the Desert Skiff, and Jabba's Sail Barge. We're going to go from smallest to largest, so let's start with the Sarlacc Pit. So here we have the Sarlacc Pit, also known as the Great Pit of Carkoon. Interestingly enough, there's actually 2 ways you can do it. You can either have it like this, sort of the special edition version of it with the beak, or you can just pop it out, and then you have just the pit with the talons. Those are all made using these 1x1 bricks that have the hole in the side with the indentation, and then you just stick them on like that. And the beak is made of these like windshield pieces in the dirty tan color. You just stick that back in there. And not a whole lot to say about it, besides I was missing a few of these edge pieces because I had it built into my city, which I'll show off in a minute. So I had to replace some of them with just the regular tan. But that's about it for the Sarlacc Pit. Let's move on to the Desert Skiff. Here's the Desert Skiff. It's a very simple build by today's standards, but I think it still holds up pretty well. You get this really nice printed slope piece at the front. The only thing that kind of bugs me about it is that it's in black instead of brown for some reason, but it still looks good, so it's not a big deal. It's also got this 1x1 cheese slope that's printed on the back in gray. And it also has these fin things on Technic hinges. They're very flimsy though, so wouldn't mess with them too much. And then of course they also have the plank for Luke to jump off into the Sarlacc Pit on. You can just put them on there like that, and it slides right back in because it's on one of the like turny hinges. I don't know what it's called. But that's it for the skiff and the Sarlacc Pit. Let's move on to the sail barge. So this is the sail barge, and it is a fantastic build. I think it's very, it's long enough, it's big enough to the point where it looks impressive. I love this, these ship hole pieces that it uses at the front flipped upside down. It's got all these, hinges, so it's easier to put people in there, as well as you can take this off. And one thing that really impressed me when I got the set was these sails actually came in really good condition. They weren't crinkled or damaged at all. So thank you, Jimmy, for being careful with your set as well. There's also these windows on bar hinge pieces that you can open up and close. As you can see, I have some open over here. And a lot of these have stickers on them to give the ship more detail. Thankfully, they're not really weird, complicated stickers, so it's not too much of a hassle to get them on. Turning it around, see, it's pretty much the same on the back. It also comes with these like really long flex tubes for guardrails, as well as, say it is very difficult to move. It also comes with these two turns. This one just moves up and down, but this one like swivels and turns 360, and you can have someone hold on to it using this clip piece. Now let's take a look at the interior. Here's the manual. As you can see, you have some nice cover art, and at the back is one thing I wish LEGO sets did more often, especially now, is it comes with all these like alternative builds you can do. So you can see we have like a shark and a pirate ship, and even a way to make Jabba's palace, which is really cool, especially if you couldn't afford that set back in the day. And on the back, you can see we have some ads for other old Star Wars sets like the Star Destroyer and Slave One. So overall, I love this set. I feel like it's extremely well made and designed, and it includes everything that it needs to. Nothing feels lacking or missing at all. I would give this set a solid 10 out of 10. Thanks again to Jimmy for giving this to me. This is a dream come true of a set to have, and thank you for watching.